All right, so how does DNA store information? Well, it uses these things called codons that are like a secret code. Now, when me and my brothers were small, we had this really great secret code that was totally uncrackable. Nobody could ever figure out what it was. I bet you have no idea what this would be. Okay. DNA stores information in a secret code. The DNA is a little bit more complicated and complex than what me and my brothers came up with. Our codons are composed of 3 nucleotides in the DNA. ATG, CAT, that would be DNA. If we're talking about RNA, this would be AUG, CAU, because we remember that RNA, whenever we see a T, we're going to put in a U instead. Okay? And each of these 3-letter codes is going to code for 1 amino acid. So 3 nucleotides equals 1 amino acid. Okay, but why 3? So let's remember, how many amino acids are biologically important? Well, hopefully you said 20. Okay. If we had codons that were only 1 nucleotide long, we have 4 nucleotides, we have 1 place. That means we have 4 to the first power. That gives us 4 unique kinds of amino acids, which is not enough. All right, so if codons were 2 nucleotides long, with the number of possible combinations we have are 4, okay, for our A's, C's, G's, and T's. And there's 2 spots, so that's 4 times 4 equals 16. That's still not enough. If our codons are, right, we have 4 different kinds of nucleotides. If codons are 3, that's 4 times 4 times 4. That gives us 64 unique combinations. That is the fewest number of nucleotides needed to have unique codons for each amino acid. Okay, but 64 is quite a significantly larger number than 20. Okay, so that's going to give us a little bit of wiggle room, which is going to come in handy for when we have genetic mutations. Here's our codon chart. These look really scary. Okay, so earlier I had used the sequence AUG and then CAT. Let's do CCC too, because why not? Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at this side of our chart, and we're going to find out what our first letter is. Okay, so here's our first letter. First letter is A. So we only care about this row for now. All of these we're going to ignore. We're not talking to you. Sorry, dude. Okay, our next letter is U. Okay, so that means that we're going to look at this column. Okay, so all of these other columns we're not interested in. Okay, that gives us just this one little square right here. And then our last letter in this codon is G. So now we're going to look at this axis on this other side. We're going to find our G. Boom, AUG. That codes for the amino acid MET, which is actually methionine. But you guys don't have to remember all their names. First letter is C. So we're going to look at this C row here. Okay, our next column is A. We're going to look at this A column. Okay, so that means that we're honing in on this box. So let me erase all this so we don't get distracted. And our last, oh, I know what I did. See, even sometimes other people make mistakes too. That should be a U because there's no T's in DNA. Okay, so CAU, haha. CAU, there's our guy. Let's talk about how to use the circle one really quick. Okay. Hopefully we get the same answers. Okay, let's start with AUG. Okay, so I'm going to start in my first letter is going to be the innermost circle, A. My next letter is kind of this middle ring, which is U. And then we're going to have our G. Haha, that gives us methionine. Yay. Okay, let's go CAU. I'll do red for this one. C A U gives us histine. Some people like the square one, some people like the circle one. Choose your favorite, go between them, do whatever you want. You're an adult. On exams, if I need you to translate, if I give you an RNA sequence or a DNA sequence, I will also give you this codon chart. You do not have to memorize this. You do not have to, I will make sure that you have this available, both versions, if I ask you to do those on a quiz or an exam. Our start codon is always going to be AUG. Okay, this tells us when we see that, haha, this is the time to begin building a protein. It's always going to code for methionine. How many other codons code for methionine? There's just one. Okay, it's only the AUG codon is only codes for methionine. No other codons call for methionine. Okay, so we should also talk about our stop codons. We have 3 stop codons in our nuclear DNA. And what this tells the ribosome is that we are done. We do not need to build any more protein. The protein building is over. So this actually calls for no amino acid. And AA just stands for amino acid. So as we saw, the genetic code is degenerate. Most amino acids are coded for by more than one codon, right? So we saw leucine, 6 codons, but are going to call for 1 amino acid. But a codon codes for only 1 amino acid. CUC is only going to call for leucine. We're not going to. So based on your observations of that codon chart, what you'll probably see is that in most cases, this last position, the 3rd position, so it's going to hold that chart where there's the degenerate base. Okay, it's also called the wobble position. The genetic code is universal, which means that all organisms are going to use the same set of codons when they're expressing their genes. So whether you're talking about an E. coli bacterium, whether you're talking about a jellyfish, whether you're talking about a horse, whether you're talking about a ponderosa pine tree, whether you're talking about a human, we're all going to use the same codon chart. We all use the same secret code. Okay? And because we all use the same secret code, that tells us that all organisms had a common ancestor that used the same secret code. Okay? If bacteria and jellyfish and pine trees used different codes, right? Had different codons for different amino acids, we might say, maybe these guys have originated from different places, but we all use the same genetic code.